Let's try this again. I had to get on my other computer. Like I said, this is all of me chatting away. It's weird because I'm coming up with my comfort zones. This isn't comfortable for me. And to be able to just sit here because I haven't developed this part of myself. That's why it's uncomfortable. I can tell you what negative feelings they're all there. Is because part of my energy field has always been about my nerves. Okay, my immune system is all about checking my surroundings. We're going to try this again. I tried the video once and it just quit. But it's about investigating, spiritual investigation. I used to teach back home about spiritual investigation. How does the soul speak? I want to teach those again. As I said before, my past switch occurred about 8 to 9 years ago. And in order for that to occur, I knew that I was like picked up and turned and placed somewhere else. And so all of the old stuff that I knew didn't feel right anymore. There were complications, there was more upsets, but yet at the same time, it was too comfortable in certain areas. What happened when I was too comfortable in certain areas? Well, there is no inner oomph to be able to go to that self-actualization. Now, I've already was doing a lot of it. But there, when you get comfortable and your needs are met on certain levels, why move? This is huge. I mean, you can look at Maslow's hierarchy. And when you begin to get extremely comfortable, you hit your comfort zones. Now, it sounds like they'd be comfortable, but they're not. Because a lot of the things that you're saying yes to are abuse, negativity, old paradigms, narcissistic ways, things that we were taught that we have to accept. Not true anymore. As you begin to have that inner urge to basically ask the question, this is it? There's got to be more to life. And that's usually your basic beginning foundation. Because there's like a part of you that's like, is it over there? Is it over there? And there's a part of you that don't get it because you look around, you look at kids and you're like, oh, but there's something else. And you can't quite put your finger on it. And then you're happy and everything's going smoothly. Everything's balanced. Everything's aligned. And all of a sudden, you're getting activated for no reason. You're upset for no reason. Your life, your soul, Harry, is saying it's ready to take that next leap. And sometimes we have to make, I don't want to say we, your soul, in its contract said, when you get too comfortable, we have to make you move. How do we get you move? Well, it goes to the question when the Spirit said to God, said to itself, where's the love? How do you answer that question when you are love and everything's love? There's no parameters. There's nothing to mark it against. Nothing to see if you've grown. Well, you have to find out what you're not. Well, I'm not this. I'm not love. I'm not this love. Wow. And then you can either put up with it and you accept it because that might be the paradigm, that might be other things. But then as you begin to have that, what? You know what? Everything seemed fine. But nothing seems right. It's almost hard to put a word to it. And there's a sensation that goes on inside, not an emotion per se, but it's like your GPS, your compass, your system. It's like it's over here, but everything you have accumulated, your sum total of your life up to this point is right here, and you're like, but I don't think I'm supposed to be here. I'm supposed to think I'm over here. And how do you explain that to all of the family and friends that have said, this is who you are to us? That you're no longer that to yourself, nor do you want to be that to them. But you can't wrap your mind around it. It kind of throws you for a loop. And you can stay or you can go. The problem is, you will do this incredible amount of self-talk, this incredible amount I'm supposed to logically think, incredible amount of that. What do you think? What do you think? What do you think? Now, it's okay to gather information. The only problem is you have to consider your source. Because if you're asking somebody that's going to stay in a relationship forever, they're going to give you that opinion. If you're with somebody that is only an ego and not in their spirit mind, then you're going to get that. And it's such an interesting paradigm that I've come across, that is, everything's going good. You're like, okay, yeah, I'm making this decision. And then one person that you may not even know will carry the signature of that particular paradigm and go, well, that's just stupid. And they may say other things. And all of a sudden you're like, maybe they're right. Oh my God. And you value that opinion and you don't even know who that is. But that's part of that paradigm. You're supposed to value that opinion so you can stay conformed, so you can stay in the program. And you are a program. I will tell you, by the age of 30, you are a program. You've done nothing new. But when your soul wakes up and says, you're not a program, you fight like hell to stay the program, because your ego is like, no, we don't want you to hear that. Shh, no, you see nothing, you hear nothing. But yet your higher self is going, wait, I did hear that. I mean, and some of you followed me enough to know that I was doing automatic response, and I knew I was a program, but I could not put my finger on it. It was just like, just out of my sight and just out of my peripheral vision. Every time I looked, it was gone. And then I finally had somebody witness what was happening. And I said, could you please just give me a word? How can you label it? Not so I can own it, but just so I can catch it. And I did. And when they said, oh, well, this person just gaslit you, they're a narcissist. I'm like, wait, what? And my ego is like going, shh, 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 forget it, la, 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 go back to sleep, you know, and my higher self goes, wait, oh, and it was a feeling that triggers so deep, wait a minute. And I've learned that when you get that stage, when you start to wrestle, I write it down. You know, I repeat it, I witness to myself and to others, and I search it out. And all of a sudden, the ego's got nothing to hold on to. Now, what is the ego? The ego is a lens, but it becomes alive because it is a consciousness when you over-identify with matter, and you emotionally take that experience and you make that emotion become your past. Emotion is a past, okay? Your feeling in the present, so your sensations, they are in the present and in the past, and they are little indicators for you to wake up. And you can use them, and you can learn how to be that sensory being. You can learn how to use sensory tools without having to stay the program, okay? So, you have this urge. You begin to wake up and look around and wonder why you don't feel like you fit anymore. Well, you're not supposed to fit anymore. Your soul says, well, if you're not over here at this time, and then we have little marking points, then we have to wake you up by telling you that you no longer fit here. We're going to tell you all the things that no longer serve you. And you may not get that. You just go, Jesus, life is a bitch, or you know, you're going to get angry and you don't understand why, and you no longer can tolerate certain things, and And all the things you told people that, oh, that's okay. You can say nasty things to me. I'm always a nice person. All the things that you tolerated was saying, you can treat me this way. Well, now there's a party. It's like, I'm fed up. I've had enough. And when you hit that, I'm enough's enough stage, there's a power inside of you that begins to rise. And you're like, no. And then you can end up being a badassery person and start fighting back on the ego level. But that's not going to help you, because you're going to carry your baggage to the next place you're at. Your home is your identity, and your identity is all the shit that you say that you are, or all the crap they say you are. It's weeding through all of that. My job is to help you go through that luggage and just take out the crap that no longer fits you, no longer serves you, no longer is you. And when you begin to wake up and you have that urge and you look around, I want you to understand, before you say go, I want you to understand that it's important that you don't waste those moments of hell. Those are all the points that you said, that's my identity. Because even though you've fed up with it and you've had enough, you're taking it to the next, and you're going to have worse than the first. It'll feel freer, but then all of a sudden you'll be in a program. You're happy, you're doing your thing, and all of a sudden, the program's your body. And it says, hey, you, can you hear me? And your body's like, well, aren't we supposed to be slouching on the couch right now and not giving a fuck? What are we doing? She's happy. She's up there studying. She's up there. What? No. And so then, the program has a meeting. It's like, how do we convince this person? Oh, I know. Tap into the nerves. Make her feel aggravated that she can't get it. She's overwhelmed. She's cloudy. Let's just, aggravate her. Make all of her sensory system to the hilt, that the sounds are annoying her. She visually can't stand it anymore. And just make her explode. And then you do. You become the program. And then before you know it, you get up and you're done. And then where are you? 5 minutes later, you're sitting on, slouching in the couch and eating ice cream. And you're like, how the hell did I get here? I was happy. What happened? And it looks like the program failed. Okay. Which program? The one in your conscious mind that says, I'm doing this. I'm doing it for myself. I'm doing it. But the program that's set in the GPS is saying, I can outdo you because you don't really have a permanent track yet. You haven't tapped me out. You haven't healed me out. You haven't resolved me out. So therefore, I'm going to be your main program. You wonder why life don't happen for you is because there's a program. Sometimes you have to stay in a mode so that you can learn something, develop an arrest development. Like this sitting here talking to you, it's uncomfortable because my development into doing that is that normally I'm interacting. Normally I'm giving something. I'm giving all the time. But in this case, I'm giving, but I'm supposed to sit back and be okay with it. Why? Because my program is how I'm supposed to be is based on what your thoughts tell me. How I'm supposed to be is how your emotions dictate my world. How does that happen? Well, it's not just because I was an empath. Because when you're so frightened as a kid, a child, that's where most all your programs, every single one of them will come from. A child will want to pacify that moment, to be able to go to that next state of saying, I got to make this make sense, and I don't want that reaction again. And what, are you blaming yourself? Are you, what are you doing? Well, you come up with an answer. The answer you come up with will surprise you because you'll come up with a sickness, you'll come up with a pattern, you'll come up with a disease, you'll come up with something just so that, you'll take on like Tony Robbins talks about this man that became a stutterer because he didn't like what he saw as a child. He saw his mom and dad fighting. He saw that his mom was going to get hurt. And then all of a sudden he started to develop issues so that the environment would not happen again. So children have a tendency to want to save the parents. Children will have a tendency to want, I don't want that to happen again, so something else will occur. And you got to remember, you were a child once. Half of your issues, well, I'd say all of them, will link back to a point in your childhood. And those childhood points will link back to your soul or your genetic line. So when you wake up, the hardest part for me is put those words out there to help you start connecting the dots, helping you understand your language that you use. Out of the 41 thoughts per minute, how many of that is love, or how many of that is being aggravated, or and most of the time it's just a program. What do you do? Well, there's lots you can do, but first you have to wake up. How do you know that you're looking for something? Is it because your life is hell? Well, how would you describe it? Because when I say that to somebody, they're like, my life is great. And then out of the next breath or the side of their mouth, they're bitching about something. And then I started learning people actually want that attention, so they'll talk that way. Or some people will do that because they have no other way to think, because they're just pessimistic, or they just figured that's negative. And growing up, it was hard for me to be in a space where you're trained that you're supposed to just think negative. That if you're happy, something's got to be wrong with you. That is an epiphany just now in my head. Because if that's the case, part of me is going to look to see if when I'm happy, am I sick? Do I have to put 2 and 2 equals this? It's these little things that can pop up. It can get very daunting when you think, oh my God, I got to look at life. But you can spiritual investigate, and you can collect clues, and you can do soul speak. And when you learn these little different things and you begin to use them in your life along with healing tools or resolution tools, the more life will make sense. If you don't like how you're living, then you need to change the environment. It's like a plant. Well, do you need more sunlight? Get more sun. Eat healthier, exercise. But what about the mental, emotional, and the spiritual aspect of you? If you're around negative people, you're going to have to pull yourself out if you don't like it, and put yourself in a position where you attract more of those happier peptides. Go find somebody, let's do a show like this if this makes you happy. Go out and find like-minded people. I had like-minded groups that were they're a tight-knit family. Not blood, just to pull out of that matrix that you have yourself in, and put yourself in a position where you can just be you. And you're not going to get judged for your stupidity that you've done, or you're not going to get judged for having something that's different than other people think. You begin to develop that your ownness, your own aspect of yourself, instead of having to fight to have your aspect, instead of having to be angry 24/7. So when I'm putting the survey together, I'm doing these little things, hoping I can help people to discover what, to wake up, to be able to not just have that bitch slap moment where your whole life changes, because a lot of you have it every single day. You just think that's life. But what if you're done having that? What if you're done having that chaos? Some people thrive off it. I have met a lot of people that really just like to fight, and they will instigate things just so they can feel better once they got the fight going. And then some people just love to argue. And then there's people that are just takers, and the idea of giving to you, well, that's just wrong. You haven't given enough to me yet. It's amazing to get into that space with people. But I've had to learn to put up boundaries, because I would come across these people, and Doesn't matter how sweet, how innocent, how honest, how loving, how caring, how decent you are. If that person is carrying a certain program that you haven't developed to be able to stand up to or to stop attracting, then you're going to fall victim to it. And that's another paradigm, victim consciousness. So I was talking to somebody and I took offense to something, but when I say I take offense, is my higher self says, what? You had energy loss. I'm like, oh, I did. Wait. I had it was based on feeling uncomfortable. No, I felt like something was being controlled. And I didn't feel like I had the ability to say what I needed to say. And you got to remember, little kids having events, they can have PSTD too, and you just don't learn how to respond. You don't learn, and so then you get railroaded and tracked and pushed. And my thing is people will say cunning, interesting words. It's a manipulative tool that all of a sudden, wait, what? And then you're the one apologizing. You're the one trying to self-justify just what happened and make them, because you caused them pain. I mean, this is how you believe that you got convinced as a child. But when you're undoing that, so I noticed that I lost personal life force power. And I'm like, wait, what? I must lost something. And I looked at what I was looking at, and I thought, oh, I need to heal that. And then I realized that it's that stage where you're too, just not tall enough to look on the counter to see all the options. It's just up there, and you're like, but I know the answer's there. But yet, it's like when you want to kind of a comeback. When somebody's arguing with you, but you can't come with a comeback. No, you haven't developed how to. Or to be able to publicly speak, but you haven't really developed how to. And most of the time, you're controlled by those emotions and those programs and patterns. And that's what my job is, to help you say, let's find them, let's heal them, let's resolve them out so that you can evolve, resolve to evolve. And so I have done a lot of work. And so when I saw that, my higher self said, you just lost power. I'm like, oh, and I mean, it was a twang that was so familiar, I didn't even know I lost power. But at the same time, my thoughts went to defense mode. And I'm like, and so then I'm looking and I'm like, well, how did that happen? And I thought, oh my God, I'm now up against how do I respond? How do I live? How do I focus? How do I stop this? And then Spirit says, shh, shh, shh. If you're not going to play the game can't get played. Ow. So I didn't play. And I thought, but I could have taken it wrong. I could have assumed and I could have taken it wrong. I could have misjudged it. So I did hope therapy on myself and got rid of that feeling. And then I noticed that it was the key words that were running through my mind in the 41 thoughts per minute. And like, what are those key words? And I could feel how they were trying to manipulate. And so I used hope therapy and I focused on it and I stared it down. And all of a sudden, it disappeared. And now all of a sudden, I have no response. I'm looking at it going, oh, I can see how that could affect me. I didn't have a twang. I didn't have that. And I didn't have to play the game. I didn't owe that person anything. I didn't have to, be the good girl. I didn't have to make sure you respond. Make sure you give a hug. Make sure you give back. Make sure that, I'm like, no wonder people took me for granted. And no wonder I would put myself in positions that would hurt myself, because I did not know the parameters. So I thought everybody loved with the same heart I did. Now, it's not about standing back in judgment. It's called discernment. And I started to discern my environment a lot more. So I'm looking out and I see my environment, and it's like, it's learning how to do soul speak. It's learning how to do spiritual investigation. And when my higher self said, There was no blaming. It was, did you see what just happened energetically? I'm like, yeah. Can you see how all of a sudden you want to go in defense mode and blame? Yeah. That's a program. We need to take care of that. And I'm like, yeah. When you start to notice that you're dwelling, that's a sign. Stop. Use your tools. You're wallowing. Stop. Use your tools. Now, sometimes you have to go there. Like death. And it's not just of a human or an animal. Death to what the future was supposed to be, but no longer is. That's a huge one for people, especially when, I knew in my heart and in my soul that I had a life that was going to happen better than me. I had that faith, I had that strength. But just prior to that, I was like, oh my God, I had to honor myself that the years that I had with this person, there's no future with them now. And that the plans for the future is now changed. And when you invest all this time and energy and love into that, it's like a baby. And when it's gone, it's like a death. Change is death. But it depends on how much energy, thought, emotion, and time you put into that made it alive. And I had to sit back and I had to wrap my mind around it. And I realized it had nothing to do with the person. It had to do with my future, my design, and I looked around. I remember as I'm driving I lived in Michigan, so I'm driving from one destination to the next. I'm looking up going, I'm not going to ever see this sky again. And at nighttime, I'm never going to see these stars again until, who knows? I haven't gone back yet. I may go back in a couple of years. But I'm looking going, this could be the very last time. And it was like, and that sudden, ending, it's like when you get a shock and then, like when somebody dies out of the blue, it's like, what the? Okay, those moments are very important for you because you don't realize how much you're attached to that moment. And when you begin to heal your crap, you then all of a sudden can start looking at clues and start noticing when things have changed. And you begin to focus on your life. You begin to focus on how you move forward in life. It's so important for you to understand that there are tools, that how you are equipped. And when I'm asking people to help me, it is, I guess, how do you know when it's time to change? How do you know? Because, we could say life. I'm a soul coach. I look at the soul and I can tell you. But how do we communicate with those people out there that have, that are beginning to awaken, but they don't even know that word, Life sucked. What questions do we ask? I mean, how did you know? How did you know that you wanted to listen to this? How did you know that there was something more to life than just, being bitch slapped and being sad or upset? Or how did you know that you feel like you just were out of control, that everything else is out of control or trying to control you? There's got to be some words that can be used that can help people to desire it instead of stay in that comfort zone and wait until you're so uncomfortable in your comfort zone that you have to go out. Do we have to wait for those bitch slap moments? Do we have to wait? Or can we use those whispering opportunities to take that next step? I'm really curious. I really want to hear from you. Star says, you just let them learn when their soul is ready. They'll be open-minded. Okay. But how do we reach, I watch people wander around and they want something, but they can't get out of their program. And I realize I can't help those. I can give them all the tools, but they got to want out. But then there are those that are don't even know that there's answers out there, and they know there's something more. And some people will wake up and they feel like they're crazy. They have like, in your heart you're supposed to go one way, and then your mind tells you you're supposed to go another, and then you just feel like you should be in the loony bin. Especially when your family and your friends are telling you, "What are you doing?" There's got to be some way we can communicate and guide and help. There's got to be words to, as I set up these classes, part of me just gets stuck at, what do we call it? Like, I could say learn your gifts and abilities, but in order for that, you need to know how to ground yourself and that you're a sensory being. In order for that, you need some knowledge. Because I've seen people just take that, and I'll try this, and then they don't commit it. And because they don't commit it, don't work. So they go around like, oh, that shit don't work. It's like you half-assery did it. You didn't understand the importance. And when you do know the importance of it, all of a sudden you just give it your gung-ho and you give it your all. So there's got to be different ways that I can learn how to be a leader or learn how to be a teacher and help in such an amazing way that I know I'm supposed to. Star says, you plant the seed, that's all you can do. The part of being an empathic clairvoyant. Yeah. And like I know that soul coaching is helping you. Soul speaking is learning how to look at life through your higher self, to see life differently, not like you always see it. It's not the same lens. And that is to see mirror is a mirror. Understand what that mirror is. Learn about discernment instead of judgment. Learn how to take that information, and it has nothing to do with blaming another person. And when you do, you have to learn when you're supposed to apply the tools. Learn how to ask the certain questions. I remember when I first started to look at life as a mirror, it was like, whoa, whoa. And it was hard to grasp at first. But then it was like, now it's a piece of cake. I know I can replicate that because the people in Michigan, I know they're much happier that they woke up and they can see things. And a lot of times they'll go back onto a wave of being just human. But then they also have this seed way down inside of them that like, wait. I'm done playing that. I need to go over here now. And then they grow. So, these are little just chats that I think that I'm learning to develop myself, because a sounding board, I sometimes need someone to talk to. Sometimes my husband's at work, and so it's hard to chat with him because he's at work. He's not allowed to have a phone. He's got to work. And it's good to talk to people that can help expand. Like my daughter, she doesn't talk much. She just types, but she will say, I don't know what this is. Can you find out what it is? And that's all the information I get. She's helped me develop. Hold on, I'll tune in. But now it's, how do I do it that I want to bring it on paper so that you can do it? And that, I guess that's what I'm lost for words, but then I had another woman listening to the show goes, oh, it's amazing what you said. And then when she explained it back to me, I'm like, I did say that. Or, oh, wow. And I'm like, wait a minute, I said that. But I know that spirit speaks to me all the time. Just the way it works. Star says, and you are there to support the people who are in that soul level up stage. Oh, yeah, that's true. Who are needing to know they are not the only one. Yes, because I was the only one. And I didn't like that feeling. And so that's when Spirit said, okay, you need to travel here, study from these people. And then after 8 months of traveling here, 7 years over here, and all of a sudden Spirit said, okay, now you got to be a teacher. I'm like, what? This introvert person that doesn't talk, that has no clue even what a teacher looks like. And then they're like laughing at me. Spirit says, you just spent 8 months with a teacher. Oh, I kind of wish I had a heads up beforehand. I would have took notes. But Spirit says, I'll teach you. And then that relationship with me in spirit from that bandwidth, it is, I mean, it's remarkable, because I am who I am today because it was spirit. And to learning how to trust and to know. Those are the two key important things that you need. And most people have no clue how to know themselves, how to know what the programs are, how to know. So my whole point is to teach you how you know, and tell you and help you understand that you're not this, but you're this. You're not that, but you're this. It's helping you undo that you're no longer that, It's helping you look at the parameters, and it's not about comparing one another. It's about comparing yourself. It's about looking at where you are, where you've been, what your GPS is set to. So it's so important to do this. Hi. What runs in the family, Star? Because I'm curious. Because I've watched some of my family members that I think that had ability that ended up using things that they didn't want to do, and I watched how they would cope, manage, deal, pacify, and I didn't want to do that. I wanted it to stop with me. And I did. I made it stop with me on many things. Now, do I blame the parents? No, it's not about blaming nobody. It's about looking at what your soul is trying to say. That's why the soul speaks. It's another language that can be taught and can be learned. And then when you are learning to listen to your soul, you can learn how to listen to spirit, because then there's spiritual investigations. It's looking at things differently. Now, I'm not talking about doing what ego does and then mull it over until you get high beta, until you lose the whole freaking plot, and then you can say, oh, it's that. I'm not asking you to say it's that with blaming. I'm not asking you to look at it through your ego. I'm not asking you to say, oh, I need to be right regardless if I'm wrong. I'm not asking you to use those tools. I'm asking you to use your higher self, your heart, and your gut. I'm asking you to learn how to commune with your soul and with spirit. And when you begin to take in all these programs and start to break them down using resolving tools so that you resolve to evolve, and you learn how to heal instead of deal, and you learn how to grow when you are having arrested development, and you have to put yourself into discomfort by choice. You need to learn how to stop having a flying bitch slap and learn by whispering opportunities. Whispering opportunities is an awesome thing, because it is a state of joy when all of a sudden you're looking at it going, yeah, I need to develop that. Or shit, if I didn't look at this way, I would have been smacked down and been on one knee and just cried myself. And that's what I used to do. And now it's getting back to that, because I used to be able to teach all that. And I've come here, and now it's been a holding pattern to study about the brain, to study about quantum physics field, to study on deeper level of energetic patterns and the core. I mean, these last 5 years have been really deep studying. And now it's like, okay, now the studying's over. Now you have to get out here and talk and teach again. And I can do that. But it's finding the pattern, the path, and the words. Finding and allowing that connection to strengthen, to grow, so that you can bring it into the physical so everybody else can enjoy it too. So, enlightenment. Yeah, we're going to get you there. I used to teach empowerment through enlightenment. And the only way that you can be empowered is to be enlightened. And that information I gave you helped you understand that it's all about choice. To have a conscious creation, to sit there and realize that I'm only reacting this way because I chose to. But take it further. Like I said, I don't want you to be an ego and just have to mull it over and become so analytic about it. That's not what I'm saying. when I say pay attention to your thoughts, pay attention to your emotions, because there are very specific things that you can do. Little cues and things of learning how to communicate with the universe, like the synchronicities. If you can learn to tap in to see that, then you've already started. And then you can start learning all the rest of the little things they tell you. And you will be knowing when your limitation is. Most of those are self-imposed limitations. And when you get to that self-imposed limitation, then it's called arrested development. But you have to be willing to say, oh, I'm going to remove the fear off those. I'm going to say no to that decision. I'm going to change that belief. And when you change that perspective, it's like the kaleidoscope. You get to turn it, and a whole another thing can be seen. You get to look at the catalog of life in a whole different manner. Why is it called the catalog of life? A lot of you probably don't remember, but when I was growing up, we had the Sears and JCPenney catalog. It was a thick book. And you would look through it, but it was always the Christmas section. In that Christmas section, you could dream. Oh, I want this, I want this, I don't want that. Oh, my sister wants this, well, I want this too. But you used to sit there, and as long as nobody's listening, you're like, yeah, I like that. You began to know what you liked versus what you didn't. But when people come along, oh, you need this. And we lost that ability to understand what it is we really need and what we don't. So the catalog of life is to be able to look out there, see everything and everything, anything and everything, and to be able to say, that's not me. I don't want to choose that. It's not about judging. It's about discernment, about knowing thyself. Like, it sounds strange, but let's take a couch, for example. You go shopping for a couch. If you don't really know what you want, maybe you just want it based on color. But I found out that I need height. I like width. I like the fabric. Now, I know that if I don't really find what I'm looking for, don't waste my money. I don't have buyer's remorse because I like, no. I know I will find the right thing at the right timing. I wanted a chair, but I couldn't find anything. You know what? I found it on the side of the road, a beat up chair that was broken. I brought it home, fixed it. Now it's the perfect chair because it gives me height, it gives me comfortability, it helps my back, and it's just comfortable. So, you know, it's what can you do with what you got, or can you manifest something better instead of saying I have to be deprived or I can't have nothing. So I appreciate you being with me, and I feel that I've actually expanded because I was able to talk in a way that allowed me to hear the words that I'm seeking. Plus, I've got it recorded so I can just listen to it again. And it was so great that I know somebody is out there and they're listening and talking to me, you know. And yes, I do like feedback. I do like to communicate. So I kind of probably felt like I gave you the impression that you couldn't really talk. Yes, Sarah. I use Oracle cards. I got a ton of cards. You know, this is one box full. I got two. But what I also do is I dig in deeper, and I can see your chords. I can see your stories. I can see the energy that comes off of you to every different ages, time, and places. I listen to what your soul says, because your soul says, I want to work on this, and it'll stay determined until you address it. You can get a whispering opportunity, or you can get a bitch slap and still not get it. But my job is that people will come to me, and I will say, and most everything will pinpoint to an emotion, a decision, a belief, back down to a value. But if you were to ask, you would say, I don't know. And then all of a sudden somebody will say something, you're like, well, I don't believe that. And once you start to train yourself to catch yourself that I do value that opinion. I don't value that one. I do value this. Oh, I believe in that. Oh, I don't believe in this. You begin to find more of your authentic self. So when I do energy readings, now intuitiveness, I'm putting classes together that helps people to connect with that higher self, that connects to that authentic self, that listens to the heart, listens to the gut, and listens to their own soul. When you're connected up to that bandwidth, I'm not talking about the third plane, fourth plane, fifth plane. I'm talking about the seventh plane. I'm talking about that bandwidth with the creator that all that is. It's a whole different feeling than you can ever imagine. But when you're there, you can come down and talk to the fifth plane where the angels are. You can come down to the fourth plane and talk to where the spirits are. And then you can come down and you can talk to the third plane, which is what we were in, that allows you to communicate. Like I can talk to the different ages of who you are. They will come to me and they'll say, I'm 3 years old and I didn't. Okay. I've had people that, people think you can only talk to the dead. I can have a person's consciousness wander off. They could be over there meditating, but they just come over and they just talk to me. And you're like, you begin to see the different. And it's not, and once you start to really heal that fear and learn that feeling of connection to the bandwidth, it's a whole different story because you learn the grounding tools, you learn all these different little things that troubleshoot you so that you can come back into alignment. On my other shows, I do Monday and Tuesday, one at night and one during the day, and it is about first half hour is talking. The rest of it is, paid 11.11, which means pay 11 minutes for you pay $11 for 11 minutes, and then there's, if you tag or share somebody, then your name goes in a box for a chance for a free reading. And usually I give out 3 free readings, but sometimes I give out 2 and we play games. I'll say, give me a number, or I'll say this real quick and I'll take the first 4 that are there, or there's different other little things. Spirit loves to come through and just give readings just to those that either are there or will be looking at this. So it's fun to just allow that information and learn from it. And so basically, I know I'm supposed to step up as that traditional spiritual leader that is about having a voice of learning how to talk to your soul. But I'm also what they call a healer, which is a soul coach. And that is, as I see your shit, and I can help you understand that if they're not flaws, these are the points and times that you have chose to have this emotion, this experience, and that you can actually resolve that out. Once you resolve that chemical peptide out, your thoughts completely change so that you can actually think your way out of a paper bag, that you can actually allow yourself to take and look at life differently instead of that one lens. It gets you out of stress mode, allows you to be into a safe mode. So you can really advance yourself tremendously. So anyways, yeah, on Monday and Tuesday is when I do the shows. Now I'm based in South Australia. So, I try to pick 2 different times so that those are in other, like Eastern Standard Time in London or Canada or United States or whatever time zones those are, then I try to have it in the evening for them or early in the morning for them. I know it sounds like the same thing, but when you're thinking of time zones, it can throw you off. Okay, so anyways, I thank you for having this chat with me, a chat with the Medicine Woman, helping me to explore my comfort zone and to develop my ability further and to allow myself to thank you for being my sounding board. So, just like I say in my other shows. And Amy, I'm sorry, hon, but I'm going to be going. But say hi to your mama. Okay? Like I always say, stay blessed.